Hello everyone! Today we're going to be painting this cute little fox. Although it may look a little bit complex, it's actually very easy as we're going to be using only one brush and a couple of layers. Let's get into it. For today's tutorial, I'm going to be using the Sublime Watercolor pack and the wood canvas that is included in the pack. Everything will be linked below. I've already drawn a sketch here and developed a color palette as well, so if you'd like, you can download it from my Gumroad page. And I'm just going to start off by making a new layer so that we can start to color. And I'm going to be using the bold rough brush for the entire tutorial, so it's very easy. And I'm going to pick out a color now. So to start off, I'm going to use this very dark brown and start to color in some of the darker parts of the fox. Let's bring down the size of the brush and start to fill in the inner ear. The reason why I'm starting with a darker color is because the sketch right now is really faint, so I wanted to get some definition going so that everyone watching can see the actual fox. When coloring, it's best to use different variations of one shade to mimic the transparency of real watercolor. So as you can see here, I'm using different variations of brown and building it up. Right now, these strokes around the eyes look a little bit like marker strokes, so I will fix that later. And I'm going to add this brownish color to the feet as well. That's the fourth leg right there. And you can use this shade on different parts of the fox that may have shadows. Now that we've kind of defined the fox with this bold color, I'm going to select a beigey light color, like an ivory color, to color the body of the fox. Basically, this color is there to mimic white fur. Because we can't use the color white, we are using something very light. Of course, you can leave some blank spots to accentuate that white fur. Now I'm starting to use a light orange to color in the rest of the fur, but as you can see, this color is showing up underneath the ivory stroke. So to prevent that from happening, you have to make a new layer on top, and now the color shows up. Just like real watercolor, you'll want to build up the color from light to dark. So now we're building it up gradually from beige to light orange to a dark orange. Rather than guessing where to color, it's best to use a reference photo or a picture and follow that color scheme to make it look realistic. I found a very cute piece of work on Pinterest that was very similar to this, so I was really inspired to recreate the work with some differences. However, I could not find the illustrator's name, so that's a little bit of a bummer. Now I'm starting to use different shades of oranges to build up the fur. So right now it's a little bit darker than the last one, and you can use overlaps to intensify the color and eventually just use more color in the areas that will have more shadows. Now this is a darker orange and I'm starting to use it in areas that will have shadows or darker reddish fur. So these areas are just a little bit on the back end. So I'm trying to use it as like a shadow, a way to build up the shadow. And the front of the fox here, this fox had more of that reddish fur there, so I'm using it to intensify that area. And of course, the tail has a variety of colors, so you'll want to use a mix of different colors here. At this point, we can use the basic blender to blend everything out and to create a base layer. Right now the fox is looking pretty white, I guess, so we want to blend all of this out and to spread it out so that the fox will have more of that reddish color. And this layer will be like the base layer that we can work from, and then we can gradually build up that fur by adding on more layers on top and maybe even leaving in some of those strokes to mimic real watercolor. I'm blending out the parts that look like marker strokes. Softening it will make it look like real watercolor. And now I'm adding in gray strokes to emphasize some shadows here and there. By the way, this is on a new layer. Of course, you'll want to blend it all out. Every time you add in a new stroke with different colors, you'll want to blend it out so that it fits in with the rest of the painting. I'm going to keep on building up this fur by adding different colors of brush strokes and blending it in. As you can see, I've built up the fur quite a bit, and now you can use bolder colors like this towards the end of the painting, and I'm using it in shadowy areas like underneath the stomach and behind the ears. And some of the fur that's a little bit more bold, like this fox had some reddish fur on the top of his face. And also using a lighter version of that orange as well, just so that it makes it look more gradual rather than a sudden change of color. Once all of the strokes are blended, it looks like this, but you really don't have to blend out every single stroke because with real watercolor, it sometimes is left with those hard edges as well as different textures. So if you want to make your digital artwork look a little bit more authentic, you can choose to not blend out every single stroke. Here I'm adding in strokes with a lighter color and not blending it out on purpose. As a final step, you can add in some thin strokes to make the fur stand out. You can use different variations of reds and oranges depending on the area. For lighter areas, it's best to use lighter colors so that these strokes don't stand out in a weird way. Towards the end, you can use some of the stamps from the Sublime Watercolor pack to add in more depth and texture. I used the splotch stamp here and there you go guys, super easy, right? I added in some gray strokes in the end to make it look like snow, and that is our fox. If you have enjoyed this tutorial, please subscribe and like this video as it will really help my channel out. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one.